Please stop. He won't stop crying. I ask kindly, I beg, I scream, I try anything to make him leave, but he won't. He just stands in the corner, looking at me. Staring. I moved in last month. The rent is cheap, but so is the upkeep. I don't mind, it's a roof at the end of the day. I barely sleep anyway, particularly with him there. He first showed up a few days after. I thought I was going mad at first, phantom sobs from random corners of the apartment. I tapped the walls, not sure what I was expecting but hoping for something to happen, something that would explain the source of the noise. I then saw him. I was just watching some crappy cooking show, high as a kite, when I saw movement from the corner of my eye, like someone running. The room was dark, but I could just make out the silhouette of what appeared to be a small boy. He was crouched in the corner, head in his hands and sobbing uncontrollably. My heart was telling me to run, but something was forcing me to move towards him. As I got closer, he sharply looked up at me. His grey skin hung loosely on his face, his wet hair stubbornly stuck close to him, and his cloudy, glassy eyes were straight through me. What the fuck? I muttered, that's impossible. I ran as fast as I could to the bathroom, fueled by terror. His body was still in the tub, looking beautiful and at peace, just like when I first saw him in the park. I sadly realized I couldn't keep him, I'd have to get rid of him. I tried my best with the smell, but it was becoming difficult for even me to ignore. Thankfully there was no one around that time of night, so getting him to my car was easy. Burning him, not so much. It was light by the time I got back to the apartment, and I passed out immediately. I was awoken just an hour later by his loud sobbing. It pierced my sleep and shocked me awake. Horrified, I saw him standing by my bed, crying and staring down at me. I haven't slept properly since. He's there. He's always there, even when I leave he follows like a shadow, the ball at the end of my chain. He started lashing out, breaking things. He made me bleed today, long and deep scratch marks etched with anger into my arms. He won't stop crying. I'm terrified of what will happen when he does.
The agony of a god, a father's heartbroken rage. My children never stopped disappointing me. I had such hope for them. They had so much potential when they were younger. But, again and again, they fail me. They fight each other over their petty differences, over fame, over belongings. Over such meaningless things. I remember the first of my children to betray me. He was always vain and arrogant. The moment his little brother was born, and he found out I was planning to have even more children, he rebelled against me. He told me my new children would turn against me. I really should have seen it coming then. I was so excited when they were born. I watched them grow up. I watched them learn. And then, I watched so many of them break my heart. I thought I'd at least be happy when one of my children wrote a famous book in my name. Until I found out that the book told lies. About how I wanted my daughters to be more submissive to my sons, and how all my gay and trans kids would end up in hell. That wasn't the first time I was used as an excuse for my children to do horrible things, saying that I told them to do it. They barely even call me anymore unless they want something from me. But I had so very many kids. Clearly, most of them would still be good. I decided that the ones who made me proud could spend the rest of their lives basking in my love. I'd give them whatever they wanted. And those who disappointed me would be cast out along with my first son. And he would do whatever he wanted with them. But, again and again, I found myself disgusted by their actions. I watched in horror as they destroyed themselves and each other because of greed, because of lust, because of hate, because of so many pathetic, small things. Day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, decade after decade, century after century, they wage war on each other. They enslave, kill, rape, and torture their own kind. They tell themselves they'll never do it again. They say they can change. But I've given them enough chances. I even sent their older brother to help them find redemption, and that didn't work. They hated him for the truths he showed them. He died to save them from their sins. Jesus, my boy, I'm so sorry. I never should have asked you to do this. Lucifer, I'm sorry for you too. I should have listened to you. You were always right. And, to the rest of my children, I'm done waiting for you to change. Your time is up. You've been sinning since Adam and Eve. I may have promised not to destroy your world with a flood, but I have so many other ways to bring your extinction. If you pray hard enough, one final time, I might decide to bother sorting you into heaven or hell instead of erasing your very souls. And I do mean pray. The Ghost of Murders Past, a detective's final redemption. It's rare that life gives you an opportunity to set things right. Coming out of retirement is rough. It's really rough when you're 75. The headlines have been coming in for the last month. The claw hammer killer is back. It's been 30 years since the last murder. There've been 2 more. After the first one, I was sure they were wrong, but after the second one, the letters began coming into the police department. Same hand. Same tone. Same cadence. Whoever he is, he's clearly feeling like he has to keep the nightmare alive. I need to stop it this time. I looked at all my old scrapbooks. I relived everything from back in the day. All the near misses. All the horrific murders. All the families that never got peace. The new killings are bringing it back for them. I feel nothing but shame. I've been watching places for the last week. If he's following the pattern, it's going to happen soon. I sit in the car, waiting for a sign that I might recognize. I try to put myself into the mind of a killer. It's easier than I thought it would be. I don't like it, but it's something that has to be done. I finally get a hit. He's in his 50s, back at one of the old bars where the killer used to haunt. He's wearing the same kind of shoes. Same kind of jacket. He has to be precise. It's important to him. He's letting a woman in his car. I follow him. I need to be sure. He takes her out to the bluffs. I've had my lights off. He has no idea I'm behind him. After a few seconds, I put the blue and reds on him. Not authentic. Something I bought online, but in the dark. It looks real enough. I grab my gun. I yell at him to let her go. The door opens and the woman runs. I tell her to keep running. He gets out of the car and looks me up and down. You're not a cop. No. And you're not the claw hammer killer. He looks at my face and it dawns on him. He's staring at the face of the man he's been copying. Idolizing. He smiles and tries to say something. I shoot his knees. The first time I've spilt blood since I've tried to live a better life. I grab his keys and mine and throw them away. He's going nowhere. He's going to pay for what he's done. I checked his car. He has all the appropriate tools. I have all my scrapbooks and trophies in my car. If you're reading this, you'll find me with a bullet in my head. You have your new killer. The old killer is dead. I don't ask forgiveness from the families because I deserve none. If God doesn't give me the forgiveness I'm asking for, then I am where I belong.
The nursery. The newlyweds were so excited about the baby. This was what they'd been waiting for their whole lives, to raise a family in their hometown, surrounded by a support staff of family and friends. Both sets of grandparents had already been over almost weekly, providing advice, tips, and tricks they learned along their own journey through parenthood. The couple's siblings had also been over the house frequently, showering them with gifts ranging from bassinets to baby bottles. They truly were set and ready to begin this new chapter of their lives. The nursery had everything for the baby: new crib, changing table, rocking chair, and quite possibly every stuffed animal in existence. You really couldn't ask for much more. The newlyweds loved every single detail of the room, until one night while the husband was away on business. On this dark and rainy evening, the crashing of the thunder woke the wife. Nervous being home alone during such a bad storm, she would pace around to keep herself distracted from her evening jitters. In her walks through the halls, she found herself ending up at the nursery. As she entered, she heard loud and piercing screams from the baby, a scream like she had never heard before. The wailing sound scared her so badly that she stumbled back in terror, falling through the nursery doorway and back into the hall. As she fell from the room, the screaming immediately stopped. She regained her footing and slowly walked back into the nursery, one leg at a time. As she entered, the screaming returned, shaking her to her core. What scared the wife most was not the sound of the scream, but the fact that it was coming from her abdomen, as the baby had yet to be born. The Pain of Neglect, a Cautionary Tale. First, I lost my hair. It was my fault. I didn't comb it on my own. It hurts my head and it makes me cry. I don't want it to hurt. Mommy said I had to comb all alone. She wouldn't help me. She is never home anymore. Ever since Daddy left, she just has no time. She said I needed to be a big girl. But I just didn't comb it. I thought I was very smart. But Mommy was right. If you don't take care of something, it leaves you. Just like Daddy did. One day, I woke up and all of my hair was on my pillow. I screamed and cried and tried to glue it back. But it didn't work. It wasn't all bad. The other girls laughed at me, but I didn't have to comb it anymore. There is only one thing I hated more than combing my hair. Cutting my fingernails. The scissor was too small and scary. Mommy said I needed to be a big girl. But I couldn't. I was too scared. So I let them grow. Yesterday, I woke up from a deep sleep. And they were on my pillow. All of them. That was all bad. My fingers were bleeding. I tried to pick my nails up, but touching stuff hurts now. It was my fault. I didn't take care of them. But after my nails left, everything was hard. I know I needed to brush my teeth. And I tried. But my fingers just hurt so bad, and I just couldn't. I went to bed crying. Mommy sat by my side. I was sad for my fingers, but happy she had time. She had made tea. I drank it and fell into a deep sleep. I woke up without teeth. It was my fault. So I just wanted to tell you to be big girls. Because it can really hurt if stuff goes away.